Hey, what's up, everyone? It's Matt. This is part 2 of a 2-part series about floating, where this week we talk about our experiences in the float tank and what it's like to have salt all over your naked baby skin.
I need you, I so need you. Stay nice for one more day. Give me the one from the start and the love from the day.
Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. Hey, welcome back. Welcome back.
Welcome back.
Welcome back.
I am with my great friends, Jake Rowell and Clay Farnsley.
Hello, hello.
Hey, hey.
You guys don't see Clay that much because he is on the camera on the shows that actually look good because he's filming, not this basement with camera on tripod and dirty mattress setup we got right now.
We probably didn't even focus the camera. I feel like I'm gonna have to leave at some point to check the focus.
I mean, it's focused, but there's always the chance it goes out of focus.
How do you feel about this, Clay?
I'm
nervous.
It's a little weird coming from behind the camera. I'm not used to that, but I had a really cool experience I want to talk about, so I'm glad to step out and be on.
Here you are.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if you watch the first half on YouTube, that was Clay's work. He was behind the camera during that interview. If you're not subscribed to the YouTube, hit that subscribe button because every week you'll get a video about movement and then this podcast. Also, give us some sort of rating on iTunes. We have 11 5-star ratings, fellas.
Wow.
Nobody hates us.
They were all me. The jig is up.
Did you write all
You had
those
11
reviews as well?
emails.
Yes, I wrote all the reviews. I have
Using
adopted
first
11 different personalities, aliases.
They were good because all the diction is really different.
I'm very experienced in this.
So if you want to leave a 12th review that's not Jake, go to iTunes, drop the number of stars you think that you think this deserves.
Mom, we're looking at you here. It's
Yes.
time to step up and get that 12th review
Let's
in.
get our moms on there.
We'll get down to cousins, aunts and uncles eventually.
My cousins don't know what a computer is.
Does your mom listen to this
She
podcast?
does not. I don't
Have
even
you
think
sent it
she
to
exists.
her?
No.
Why not?
Could you imagine my mom listening to a podcast?
Maybe she's got a long car ride and she needs some entertainment from
She wants
her.
to hear her son's voice.
You've been entertaining her for 30 years, Matt.
30 years of pure, unbridled entertainment. So,
What's another 40 minutes?
what's another 40 minutes in her life? She doesn't want, that's it. She doesn't want to hear me for another 40 minutes. She's had enough.
I'd like to see your dad listen to the podcast.
I think my dad would actually love the podcast.
He would listen to it, but he would have some like very detailed feedback, I feel. He'd want to engage in discussion.
He would also want to be on the podcast.
He'd have some things to offer.
He's an avid sports radio, talk radio fan.
Okay.
Talk about business models.
You have to understand. It's business, Matt. Joke means nothing to no one that knows my
No,
dad.
but
Yeah.
I'm chuckling on the inside right now because I get it.
I feel like we all have dads who do that, so.
Also, go to Stitcher, because we're on Stitcher. And that's it for plugs. Except one grand plug.
What is that?
The grandest of all plugs.
You almost forgot.
I've been taking Koyos for 6 weeks.
6 weeks, wow.
Has it been? Yes, it's been definitely been 6 weeks. They've been partnered with us to form the Super Tribe for less than that. But I've been taking it for that long. And I was telling Jaw, who was on the podcast last episode and the episode before that, about my experiences. And it's funny because when I first started taking it, I noticed an enormous increase. I mean, it was almost profound, the focus. But as I've gone on to take it longer, that sort of caffeine high effect that I got has lessened. But I do notice that when I read or when I write, my attention stays on that and doesn't move away unless I want to. So it's almost like this weird spotlight. I shine on whatever I want and can direct. So it's awesome. And I attribute it to Koyos.
I've been taking it, especially when I feel like I need to dig into a project or something. Spend a lot of time with the computer. Anyone who's seen my computer knows I tend to have about 20 to 30 tabs open at a time in my browsers. And so I'll take that. I'll focus on one thing for a while, like if I'm programming or writing something. It helps. I also drink a lot of coffee. And I don't know, it's like the two come together.
No,
Something happens to my mind.
I have 20 to 30 tabs of porn open on my computer.
Well,
you
This is
have
a family show.
on private browsing, though, right?
Yeah, of course.
I'm on week 2 of
I had a
Koyos.
roommate who thought he was a genius because he discovered that, by the way, and I just
Really?
want to throw that out there.
but he would probably try to do that at like his work computer,
And-
where they just
They could still see it.
there's like
Yeah.
not working out for him.
I am on week 2 of Koyos. Week 1 was interesting. I'm still in that phase where Matt was talking about focus, and I almost felt anybody who knows me knows I have one speed, and it's like my gear shift is stuck in 4th, and I don't speed up, but I don't slow down. So I did that first week. It was kind of like my body was trying to keep up with my mind, and it was like my fingers weren't working right and stuff. I love it though. It's absolutely focused. I do lock in a lot better than I usually do. So really happy with how it's turned out so far. And again, I drink coffee with it, and it doesn't like overload my system as I thought it might.
Should you cycle off at some point, I wonder?
I think you should cycle off everything. So yes.
Got to cycle off water probably.
Don't cycle off water.
Okay.
As a gym, you guys, as trainers at gyms, you guys cannot tell people to cycle off water.
Okay.
But Gatorade, no. Never drink
Never
Gatorade.
drink
Definitely not.
CrossFit will come after
We
you.
toe the party line.
Don't drink Gatorade.
No, I think
Don't
you
do-
should cycle
yeah.
off everything. But Koyos, I'm going to go through 2 straight bottles before I cycle off this, for sure. And like I wrote on our Instagram, if you are doing something creative, you want it for the focus. If you're doing something repetitive, it's good for the increased attention. Or, I know a lot of people like Lil Ricky, who was on episode 10. No, she wasn't on episode 10. Who was on an episode earlier. She takes it before she works out because she finds it helps her focus on training. This stuff is versatile. It's awesome. Join the super tribe of Koyos and the Movement RVA podcast. Go to www.mentaltitan.com. Type in the code RVA. That's phonetically Romeo Victor Alpha. And get 15% off a bottle of Koyos. Do it for us, people.
I feel like they'd probably be happy if we just talked about it for like 10 seconds. Hey guys, we got this sponsor. They're getting quite the deal here.
Full reviews.
Because
reviews.
because I believe in it, guys.
Yeah.
Keeping it authentic, really.
Yeah.
Because we're not going to get sponsored by crap we don't like.
Right.
This is true.
Yep. So, I got a really cool drink of the week.
I feel like you're the kid who brought like something really awesome to show and tell, and Jake and I's drinks are going to be really sad after this.
National level weightlifter Jackie Alberts Long went with Alan Long, who owns Square Trade Goods, who was on episode, I don't know my own episodes.
Previous episode?
13. No, you're way behind, Clay. You're on the team and you're way behind.
I meant, sorry, a previous episode.
A previous episode.
No specifics here.
They went to a show at the Dogfish Head Brewery in Rehoboth, Delaware. And I knew that Dogfish Head had a series of ancient beers. So they would go around the world and find beer recipes. They found some sort of Egyptian beer in hieroglyphics, and they recreated it.
What?
Yeah, they also went to South America and found Aztec beer, maybe like an old sample that an archaeologist had found, and they recreated it. The one that they're doing now is called Chateau. It's French. Chateau. No, it's French, guys. Chateau Jiahu, and it's a 9,000-year-old Chinese recipe.
Wow.
Would you say it opens a window into the world of our ancestors?
I do. It's inspired by the Neolithic era.
Okay.
Straight off the label.
Jake, you're good at this plug-in thing.
Yeah. look at
Dogfish Head does not sponsor us, by the way.
But if they did, we would take it
that.
I would accept
in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
Oh.
Testing.
We
No.
could each drink a single 90-minute or 120-minute bottle
I would do that every podcast.
every podcast.
So if
You
you're
wouldn't make it to the end.
I once had some.
Exercise.
I've only had a 120-minute once, and it was like drinking maple syrup.
It's incredible.
in its consistency.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I finished it.
That man is a genius. He invented
Mr. Dogfish?
Mr. Dogfish. He invented microbrewing in America. And if you're listening, Mr. Dogfish, we'll take your sponsorship.
We're waiting with open arms.
And we don't need money. We just need beer.
Just 3 120 minutes per week.
No, but it's a super cool drink. And I'm very happy that she brought it. I'm going to enjoy it.
I hope you're prepared to pour me a small glass of it. Tasting size.
I might have to give some to
Jake
my
declares
girlfriend
prima
first.
nocta on the beer.
I get the first taste,
Yeah.
Matt. The first taste.
It is my noble right. What are you guys drinking?
drinking coffee. I
That's
made
weird.
it. I made it at 8 o'clock in the morning, and it's still warm inside my magical mug.
Wow.
Is it really still warm?
It's warm enough.
You're hammered.
It's not cold.
Are you kidding me? No, for real.
That's a wonderful.
What is this, lined with active lava?
Yes. It's a new market.
I've got some exotic drinks here. I've got water.
We can't have this on Drink of the Week, guys.
No, no.
Water and coffee.
No.
Okay.
We've been doing coffee every time.
Yeah. And then I
I'm
have.
glad I brought the beer.
You didn't tell me there was like a special show and tell
Well,
element
he
to
set us
today.
up. He goes.
Yeah.
This has been show and tell since the day this
He even
started.
had that, in
I brought a
his backpack.
9,000-year-old beer.
Yeah.
You should have told me. You tried to cancel this segment like 5 times. I'm sorry, Clay.
No, that's all right. I'm drinking Cafe Cream, so it's a coffee protein from Nutriforce.
Don't talk to me
Cafe
about
Cream.
Nutriforce.
It's delicious.
Don't talk about Nutriforce.
Sorry. From a brand of.
We're about time people now. I don't know if you know this. Maybe they'll sponsor us a little bit.
Hopefully.
Who is this?
About time.
Well, I haven't received my bounty yet.
What is About Time? And when am I going to receive an About Time bounty?
Right now they're just going to sponsor Superfit, but that opens the door.
What else do they do? I don't even know who they are.
They are relatively new to the CrossFit market, supplement company. I believe they're out of Pennsylvania. Sponsoring a handful of CrossFit athletes. They have some good products. They're a medium-sized company, I'd say.
Mm-hmm.
So they're going to sponsor Superfit.
Awesome.
Lots of supplements.
Sups.
They have a protein pancake.
What?
It's a mix. You
Oh,
just
it's
put
like
a little water in it, you
batter
throw it
in
right
it?
on. It's like, yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
And
Whoa.
I think all their stuff is stevia sweetened.
I'm out. I hate stevia.
Well, it's better than sucralose.
Got a good point.
It's just a plant, Matt.
I need to. Wow. That's
So is cocaine.
That's right.
So I don't know what that says. I've defeated my own argument. So what are we talking about today, Matt?
God, we had that dead air right there because
Yeah.
I literally lost my train of thought.
It was a split second. I think they'll forgive us.
We could edit it in post.
See, hey, we'll
I
change
just
that.
feel
in
like that's
post.
something good to say.
I'm going to change it, but we're not going to change the video. So from here on out, it's going to be like badly dubbed.
Yeah.
What was the Japanese
It'd be like
video?
Shaolin monks. What is that called? You know, the Wu-Tang Clan, the
Oh, yeah,
movies
yeah,
they would
yeah.
watch.
Yeah.
Oh, I have it in my head.
What was it, Wipeout? Where they
Wipeout.
Yeah, there's that. I'm talking about something different.
Wipeout's that
The
game
Japanese
show
TV.
game show.
where
Yeah.
people eat shit.
It is Wipeout.
Yeah, it's gonna be like that.
So I used to watch TV in Japan late at night, and they had this one show where they built this porta potty in the middle. It was in the middle of a field, and they'd have a hidden camera set up because whenever you went in there to take a dump, perhaps, it blew you off the toilet seat out of the porta potty.
I can't be. I feel
What's
like
wrong with
most
those?
They're awesome.
most Japanese game shows can't be legal here.
They're
not
not
here.
legal in
There's
America.
no way. We can't have
You
any
would-
fun here.
You would die.
Yeah. Wow.
I mean, I'm surprised Ninja Warrior works.
True, because there's a lot of risk on that
It's
show.
probably
Yeah.
done on like a barge in international waters.
So it's out of the jurisdiction.
Yeah.
Lawless territory.
The feds are waiting on the on the shore, like
They got
tapping their billy clubs.
Like it's
and
a
their
gambling
jack
ferry,
boots.
but not.
Yeah.
black helicopters circling. I never seen anyone get injured on the show except one idiot who wore 5 fingers
Oh, weird.
and his Achilles tendon blew.
That's weird that would happen.
Why would that happen?
He probably hasn't been. He hasn't been ragging it out for years
Yeah.
now.
let me put on these feet gloves.
Just now, like this
Yeah.
is the first time I'm wearing
Why didn't you
them.
just bound your feet in leather and just call it a day?
gladiator sandals?
Why don't you just make peg feet and just run around?
What's that even mean?
I don't know.
Wooden pegs.
Anyway,
Like clogs? Is that what we're gonna have?
no, like
a
Chinese foot
pirate.
binding.
Okay, that's weird.
That's what I
We're
feel
very
like
into
Vibrams are
Oriental culture.
today.
Right.
We're honoring it because we did something that was very Oriental. You guys heard the interview that we had with Ted and Kyle, and now we've experienced the tank, and we don't even have things we hate this week because the tank was that great.
We don't hate anything anymore.
I am literally like Peter in Office Space, and nothing bothers me. It's like the cats were fighting like with like switchblades near me when I got back from that thing, and I was just like, "It's cool, guys. It's cool." and they calmed down.
I feel like I was like that for like 10 minutes. I was probably mad on the ride home.
Yeah, you probably were. I felt a long-lasting... In fact, when Ted described his first experience about like 4 days of... Not bliss, but like just calm and centeredness, I would say that mine lasted. Because we're about maybe a week out right now from the experience. And we did that to get some perspective on it. And so I really did have a lasting effect.
Same. It's 3 or 4 solid days. Jake and I had a conversation on last Monday. The Sunday after the float, we were both kind of like worthless, like not, just kind of a little sluggish, like a little more relaxed than you'd normally be on a Sunday.
Yeah, I was worthless for 48 hours.
Yeah.
In reality, I felt like the chill was, for me, about 48 hours.
Yeah.
Definitely the next day, Sunday, I was out. I was knocked out.
I think the best way to tackle it after saying that part is to start from the beginning.
So what was our experience?
Yeah.
What happened?
You have to get naked,
Yes.
which was really interesting.
I wasn't that worried about it. It's just like taking a bath at someone else's house.
Someone else's house that doesn't change the water.
So yeah,
in a tent.
let's like
And anyone could come in there if they actually wanted to.
let's establish the framework. You're in I guess it looks like a spa when you walk in. I don't know what a spa looks like, but a very
No, that
nice,
looks like a spa. Yeah.
Definitely.
very nice
Salon, spa.
yeah,
thing.
great put together facility. You feel it's
Very
relaxing.
welcoming.
Yeah.
Tea and coffee and finger foods are available.
Yeah.
People call them finger foods?
I don't know.
That's what my parents call them.
Ladies call them that.
They have some finger foods.
You hang out until it's your time to go.
Yep.
They take you down there's a hallway then with 4 rooms, and inside each room, pretty small, about half the size of the room we're in right now.
Which for the people listening is, I don't know, it was like 10 by 10 room.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe just something like that, maybe a little longer. And there's just a tank and a shower, and that's a sink. That was it.
It looks like a spaceship,
Yeah.
and the tank is filled with water that has thousands of pounds of Epsom salt in there.
800.
800 pounds
Just
of
shy
Epsom
of
salt.
thousands.
I read the brochure.
The water's heated to 93.5, which is the temperature of your skin, apparently.
I'd really be an asshole if I was like, Matt, it was 93.4.
93.72. I read the brochure.
Get it together. Get it
This
together.
is my life on a daily basis.
Yeah.
Correction on minute facts.
Well,
Hey Matt, you're very good at the.
we were gonna
big
get
picture.
that. We were gonna get the YouTube comment. It's not thousands of pounds.
I think we've yet to get a YouTube comment on the podcast, except
whenever we ask questions, whenever we say we don't know something, people immediately Google it because we don't have. We're like
we're like
we
in
can't
the
do
18th
it right
century
now.
right now.
Yeah.
We can't do it. We don't have 6 machines around us that can
What?
do this.
I don't know how to use my hands when I'm talking.
No, but Jake's right. 800 pounds, 93.5. So you can't sink, and you really can't feel the water.
Yeah, the water's about a foot deep.
Yeah.
It
Jake,
would-
actually, it's 10 inches. I read the
Yeah,
brochure.
10 inches. All right. I got nothing to say. And surprisingly, you float in that little bit of water.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
I feel like we're far enough away from elementary school, middle school, that we have no idea what buoyancy is anymore. Like, we don't have to think about buoyancy.
Why? What in middle school? What is
I'm
middle
sure
school
you
have
had to
my
do
buoyancy?
your science class, and they actually talk about things like, oh, if you're in the Dead Sea and you can float.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like we forget about this thing, that if you put enough salt in water, you float.
Without any effort.
And there was, you'd lay your head back, and it was like laying on a pillow.
It was.
Like, you couldn't put it back any further, really.
And I want to get to that later.
I'll hold off. Then
Hold
I
off.
have a great description.
So you get in this thing, and then you close the hatch, and you can leave the light on, but I did not. Did
I
you?
turned it off after like a minute. I was like, it's like bothering me. It was bothering me. So
I felt like it was a challenge. Like, he was like, you might want to leave it on for 5 minutes. Is like, screw this.
That's what I said.
I'm going cold turkey.
I was like, I'm a man. I'm going to turn this light off now.
full immersion.
I want to know what it's like to be in space.
Yeah.
I want to know what it's like to be dead. I'm turning this light off right now.
It was weird. I felt like when I first got in, I felt like I was a shipwreck survivor who was living under a submerged boat. And I crawled up into the water.
Elaborate scenarios in this.
Oh, wow.
Maybe I thought about it.
Maybe you were a shipwreck survivor.
Yeah, in my
Welcome
mind.
back.
Yeah, so if you're listening, you close the hatch, you turn off the light, and you can sort of, your senses are completely turned off, which is the point, which they obviously talked about in the interview. But like Jake's talking about, you can sort of feel that rounded hatch over you, or I could for a while. So I don't know if that's what you're referring to, but the sensation of being in that thing lasted for me for a while. In fact, I actually went into a panic, but not because I was scared, but because the first 10 minutes are so horrible because you're like, I can't stay in here for an hour and a half. I'm bored. And then I was like, I led everyone into the dumbest thing ever. We just drove an hour.
Are you experiencing this like a mild anxiety attack?
Yeah, because I was like, everyone's going to come out and be like, hey, great idea, Matt. Float tank. Cool.
Well, I think the thing is you get in there and it's not this instant thing. Like you don't instantly feel sensationless. I mean,
right.
Like when I got in, I was like, I am a person floating in salty water in Charlottesville, Virginia. Like I was very aware of everything that was happening.
Yes.
It wasn't like you just turned.
It's 12:01 p.m.
It wasn't like you just like flipped a switch and you're out of it. So yeah, for me there was that like an adjustment period, and I could still feel the water in my skin like contacting. Even though it was the same temperature.
And I think Ted refers to that in the earlier part of the podcast where he's talking about our minds are like fans, and when you turn a fan off, it doesn't just stop. It's got to slowly come down. Yeah. And so that for me, I was at the same time. I was like, I don't know if I can do this. Like this is like
fucking stupid.
I'm like, what am I going to think about?
Yeah.
Like
there's nothing to look at in here.
Yeah, like there's no internet. Where's the internet?
Where's the
internet in here?
But then
my Wi-Fi is not. It's broken.
But then, all of a sudden, something, and I didn't even know what happened. And I was like, am I asleep or am I awake? And am I dreaming right now or am I daydreaming?
I never thought I was asleep. I felt completely awake the whole time.
Really?
Maybe like 20 minutes in, I have no idea. I mean, I'm just guessing. For me, fairly early on, I feel like things kind of, that switch did flip. And then that's when it was actually I feel like got intense very quickly, where, I couldn't really feel the water anymore. And then the visual stuff, I mean, because you almost never have the opportunity to be in complete darkness. Like I have blackout curtains and all that stuff.
Yeah.
It's still not that dark, of course. And so for me, pretty like intense sort of visual stuff was happening.
What was it?
I mean, it was like patterns of color and sort of thing. Like, I mean, I was sitting there, you're looking in the dark, and it's just kind of like when you close your eyes real hard and you like see those colors or something like that. Yeah. Or if you're a little kid, you'd do that and then you poke your eyes and you'd see even more colors.
I still do that.
Yeah, just poke in your eyes.
Is that safe, guys?
It was like that, and I had sort of a pass going like from the right side to the left side of my vision, and it would be sort of like waves of like, I mean, nothing too crazy, but it was like, it just kept happening, and I'd feel like I'd close my eyes and I'd open them and I'd look around and nothing would change. Like I knew I was moving my eyes and doing all these things, but like what was seeing was just exactly the same.
Yeah, I would
pretty
say
wild.
that happened to me too.
I had same kind of time period. At one point, I was like, "Oh, somebody turned the lights on in the room," because there was like a purple hue sort of at my feet. So I looked down there and I saw the purple, and I was like, "Who the hell's in here?" I was like, "Wait, I locked the door, so they couldn't get in." And then I was like, "Oh wait, I'm seeing something like right now." And so then my mind was finally like, "Oh yeah, it's just purple light. Don't worry about that." And so I just kind of went on to something else. And as Jake was talking about, you'd see these images sort of flash in front of you. And for me, it was right to left, which is, it was always right to left. It wasn't left to right. It's just like...
I think the same thing for me. I feel like it was right to left.
And then, but it was like, I would see like images of things. So I saw like a polar bear. I remember distinctly seeing a polar bear. It was I don't know why.
Like the Coca-Cola
I was like,
what was the polar bear's name?
Is this like a Lost episode?
The Jolly Polar Bear of Coca-Cola?
It flashed ahead. And I was like, oh, okay, there's a polar bear.
I saw no polar bears.
What kind of
so
shit
sad
is
now.
going on in your head?
I don't know. I've often wondered that. My wife is probably wondering the same thing too.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't have very clear images. The whole color thing happened. I just daydreamed about a lot of things. I was thinking about maybe over the last week. And what's funny, and I told you guys this when I got out, everything that had maybe been bothering me or stressing me out, or just things I was interested in that I've been thinking about over the week, I thought about, but all the associated feelings, positive or negative, had completely fallen away from them. And it was so weird to like contemplate things that had a psychological effect on me, and they had none. And so I could see how the literature, or even what Ted was saying, people go in there to work on business problems, creative issues, you know, maybe even like personal stuff, and how you could really attack it without any kind of the prejudging or prejudices that you would normally bring to an issue like that.
I could definitely feel that sense of detachment. Immediately in the tank. I don't even know why. I mean, it's hard to know why. Like, as you're in there doesn't seem to be that immediate logical connection for that to happen.
Right.
Like, they're not like, oh, well, you're floating in darkness, so clearly when you get out, you're going to, have a different perspective on your life. It's just like, but it happened.
Mm-hmm.
And I could tell, I mean, yeah, even the next day, for sure, too, I would always, I will get very intense thinking about things by myself when there's nothing happening. But, and just did not happen for at least a couple days. So that's cool.
Similar to what you guys are sensing, just been very relaxed. I don't know that this is a result of that, but I feel like in the gym itself, or the performance, or the training center, or whatever,
Whatever we call this
You
thing.
can call it a gym.
I feel like
The box.
the
box.
I
The
feel
box.
like I have. I'm a little more in tune with my movement. Doing deadlifts the other day, I felt like muscles engaging in my deadlifts that I don't normally pay attention to, but I remember distinctly thinking, "Oh, that's engaging. I'm doing it." Like, I don't know. That's literally never happened to me before, and so I'm like, is this a result of that kind of new awareness that
Right.
the tank offered? I don't know. I mean,
I feel like when you're in there, so much of that sensory input is shut off,
Mm-hmm.
so that if there is something that's hurting, I felt like I could sense that much greater detail.
1,000%.
Like my
Oh, yeah.
neck's jacked up all
Yes.
the time,
Yeah.
and so I'm sitting there and I'm like, for a while, I'm feeling. That's all I can feel is my head sitting back in the water, and my neck is. I can just very aware of how it feels. So I'm wondering if it's one of those things like you shut off so much that you're able to sort of pick out what certain things feel like.
So funny.
Yeah.
I shattered my wrist 7 years ago now, and it hurt so bad for the first, I would say, I don't know time, you lose track of time, but I would say for the first 20 minutes, and it hurt so bad, and it doesn't hurt ever any other time, except maybe during some movements. But I thought it was funny and then everything that I've ever hurt, whether it's my ankle or my knee, I was like, oh, this is so uncomfortable, and then it just poof went away.
Can I tell you a weird thing that happened? So,
Tell me the weirdest thing that ever happened to you.
well, not the weirdest ever,
This is
but
truth or dare now.
I have sort of a ringing in my right ear that's pretty much constant.
What is that called, tinnitus?
I think it's called tinnitus. I'd never got it diagnosed.
Somebody
it's just
Google
there.
it. We know it's called.
It's definitely
tinnitus.
called tinnitus, but I don't know if that's what I have. But so I'm sitting there in the middle of this. I hear the ringing. It's a little distracting, but I've for the past few years have just sort of ignored it or whatever. But I distinctly remember it was like somebody hit the mute button in my right ear.
Yeah, I remember saying that.
And the tinnitus just stopped, and I was like, "Whoa!" I mean, it was like I remember kind of looking around, that thing where you look around. It's like, did anybody else hear that?
Yeah.
I didn't hear it, and it's returned after about 4 days. But for those 3 or 4 days, it was gone. So that was kind of incredible. Maybe I got water in my ear. I don't know.
Oh yeah, I tried to get in without earplugs, and then my ears filled up with water, and it felt terrible. So I immediately got back out, put earplugs in.
I think I was the only one that didn't wear earplugs.
It drove me crazy.
Yeah.
It's like the water seeped into my brain.
Since you can hear my voice, I didn't die. I did not drown in the tank.
Oh yeah, let's talk about that.
Yeah. Before we jumped in the tank, my wife was a little worried about me drowning, and so of course I started to worry about it. Ted assured me that it's not possible, and once you actually get into the tank and lay down, you realize it's impossible. You would, even if you intentionally wanted to drown yourself, you probably couldn't endure the pain that the salt would cause your eyeballs.
Did either of you guys get water in your mouth or eyes?
I did not.
No.
I got a little bit in my mouth somehow.
How did
What
what?
is the beard?
I think I'd scratched my face and just like
Oh.
a single drop, and it wasn't salty like the way you imagine salt tasting. It was
Yeah.
just like it was intense.
It's like all the salt in the world.
All the salt in
on
the
your
world
mouth.
on one drop.
Was it almost like chemical?
It was, yes, very chemical.
Ugh. I tried to roll over, and you can't roll over.
I just pictured you
Yes,
He's like a turtle.
it's a tiny fat man in a salt bath.
nude and just rolling.
I'm
just
completely-
rolling as
I'm-
hard as he can.
We just lost all of our listeners.
I'm naked, bald, and covered in body hair.
Hair
And,
diapers.
Salt water.
I can't roll over, guys. So if you're worried about falling asleep in this tub of my goo and dying, you won't, because you cannot roll over onto your face.
So excitingly, my wife is going this Saturday.
We've convinced a couple people to go up
Yeah,
there.
we had a member, Isabel Taylor, who's already joined the party, and she went this past week, and obviously had a good experience. She talked my wife into going, so I expect many of our members will probably follow suit very soon.
Yeah. I had one last phase. Jake, you looked like you had a thought. I can hold mine.
I had a middle phase.
Oh,
Okay, let's hear it.
So once you guys got into your rhythm, did you stay there the whole time?
I feel like it took me a while to get there, but yeah. I was surprised when the bell went off.
I got there, like I feel like I got there pretty quickly, but then I popped back out at a certain time. And I think once I was very aware of like sort of how I was feeling and what was going on, I started thinking about that, like how things were feeling, you know? And so I feel like as soon as I started thinking about like what was going on, and I was out, like
Right.
as soon as I became aware and like, but for a while then I was like trying to force myself back into that place. Like I was doing sort of like counting my breaths and trying to relax, trying not to think about anything. And I feel like that just made it worse. But so I just sat there and like thought about whatever I felt like, and I was like, you know what? It doesn't have to be anything in particular.
Right.
Like it doesn't have to be this certain experience. I was like, I'm just gonna chill out and think, and then eventually I kind of fell back into it for a while, but it not quite the same way I did in the first, like I assume 20-30 minutes.
Yeah. So the way I ended up after I freaked out and then I chilled out and then I tried to roll over. This is weird. It started to feel like I was on a Tempur-Pedic mattress.
Mm-hmm.
Like my legs and arms are supported in the way that those mattresses will like fold up and get you into a sitting position. And I'm not saying this is a hallucination or anything, but remember the mosquito in Jurassic Park, frozen in amber? I was like, I'm a mosquito frozen in amber. And that's pretty much what I was like until the music went off that lets you know that you got to get out.
and that the funny part was you lose track of time.
Yeah.
I think you were like subconsciously aware of it, but you're like, oh, maybe it's time to get out, and then it wasn't, and then suddenly the music comes on, and you're like, oh, it is time. Yeah, that makes sense. It's time to get out, and I didn't really want to get out, to be honest. I could have stayed another 2 hours.
I could have lived in that tank.
I got out moments before, like I knew it was time.
Overachiever.
I got out.
Jake had a watch.
It has to be time.
Is he a quitter or is he an overachiever?
No, I knew it was my time had come.
What does that mean?
I don't know. I just got out, and then the things turned on.
What if they put a like opening, maybe like a cloth opening at the top, so you emerge from the tank as though you were emerging from the womb,
What an idea.
and you could redo your birthing experience? I don't know if you had a traumatic one or whatever hippies believe. Guys, that's a great idea. Can I tell you something I always want to do, and I think the float tank can help me do this?
Tell me about it.
So I always
Matt.
wanted to have this big party at my house, and I'm a wealthy man at this point. And everyone comes, and I'm like, where's Matt? But everyone's having a great time. There's food, drinks, whatever. And on the wall, among many works of art, is perhaps a big, opening, right? On the other side, I'm in a float tank, right? It's like a big vagina on the wall. And then I emerge out of the float tank into my party, out of the vagina.
Did you?
Why does there have to be a party?
Because then there will be a group of
mean-
very surprised people that's expecting me, and I'm a grown, bald, hairy man, naked,
But
merging to the floor
but
of my
kind
own
of
living
looking
room.
like the New Year's baby.
Right.
You'd be in diapers.
Is this celebrating a
You
certain
wear a-
phase
you
in
wear
your
a top
life?
hat.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And a cigar.
the rebirth of Matt. Jake, I'm a hippie now. I go into float tanks.
We'll do this when you're like 50. This is your 50th birthday
50th
party.
birthday. My chakras are aligned. I'm out of the duality. It's the next step, bro.
It is.
Okay, let's get serious.
Sorry.
What do you think about the applications to athletics? I think high-level athletes could benefit a lot from this.
I think we talked about it a little bit in the pod earlier, is that, I mean, you have to look at all aspects of your life as stress, not just direct training stress. There's always a balance there. So if you can, I think, eliminate other stressors in your life, maybe there's potentially more room for additional training stress, so more training, and you can still recover appropriately and get better, that much more so. So I feel like just mental and emotional stress reduction from doing this would have a direct application.
Yeah, I think the possibilities for visualization in there for a high-level athlete would be incredible.
Yeah, I think as you're not having to, again, think about all these other things, your sensory input is reduced, that if you do choose just to think about one thing, I'm not a high-level athlete, but I could imagine it.
Yeah,
I think even regular athletes, everyday athletes could see the benefits from it. I mean, we all get stress, and yeah, it's all relative to each person, but I think that the stress can help. I mean, honestly, think about this in a real simple fashion. Like, imagine not using a single muscle for 90 minutes. How relaxing that is. It's like the greatest massage you can possibly have.
Yeah.
I feel like if you're an everyday athlete and you go in there thinking about wall balls, you're a nerd.
True. Yeah, I wasn't.
But it's an opportunity to do perfect practice, guys.
Yeah.
You can't screw it up in there.
You're the worst if you do that.
So when we go back, let's try that out. Let's see what happens.
I'm not going to think about wall balls.
I'm thinking about push-ups, burpees, and wall balls.
No, but I mean, okay, talk about regular people things. If you got an issue at work, project, maybe you got a relationship issue, it's the perfect place to go in there and confront it without any of the other things that would interfere with your confrontation with whatever the issue is.
And then there is that emotional detachment that we already talked about, that you can maybe think about it a little more of a clear light.
Yeah, I mean,
or no light.
True story.
I would go in there, like, I plan on going again. If I could afford a tank, I would have a tank right now. I would float every day, honestly.
Matt had bought one. It's on the way. I'm just kidding.
Hey.
Why did you have to lie?
It's going to go right behind us.
All hours of the day, I'm going to be coming out completely naked.
During the new intros,
yeah, new people,
new members.
They're going to be sitting here filling out their waiver. The nude man comes out.
Hot in there.
Did you guys get hot?
I
Yes.
did, yes, I did. It's funny because my wife's going. She was excited, but she was a little worried about the claustrophobia, like how that's gonna affect.
I was scared. I was worried about that too, and it didn't affect me.
I told her, I was like, it's like you've been camping, you've lied in a tent. It's like lying in a tent, like as far as spatially.
Yeah.
But then once the lights go out, it could be as big as you want. Like, it doesn't matter.
Might as
Like, you
well be
don't
on Mars.
know. Yeah, exactly. It could be. I was like, oh, I'm on a huge lake and it's dark, and so claustrophobia, not an issue.
Did you guys stretch out?
Yes. I was floating back and forth and bumping into walls.
Hold on 1 second.
Okay.
Keep going.
Did you have a problem with that?
With stretching out?
Yeah.
No. I kind of stretched up, stretched my arms down just to test out different positions and see how that felt. I didn't need to stretch. I just let my body go exactly how I wanted it to go. You know what I mean? So it's like, this is the way my muscles want to move, and I just let them fly. And I think that was, for me, important to try to do, because I didn't want to try to force anything. And as Ted had us do the exercise where we would press our heads down to let it float up. That's when I finally started getting relaxed, because he said you try to swim in the first few minutes.
Yes, you definitely do.
You don't stop. But yeah.
So, like everyone knows, this is a working gym.
Yeah.
Jake had to go take care of a customer, and I think we've covered it. Thumbs up for me on this.
Yeah.
Thumbs up.
Absolutely. 2 thumbs. I'll give a thumb up for myself and probably for Jake.
Jake's gonna give a thumbs up on
Yeah.
this. So the Movement RVA podcast approves, and we want to thank Aqua Float for their hospitality and the way they made us feel welcome and granted us the ability to have the conversation with them.
Yeah.
And that's it. Jake's not here. I'm going to sign us off. Remember, everyone, it's just exercise.